What's going on, everybody?
It's Whataweeb.
But anyway, yeah, today's Spotlight Saturday. We're going to be talking about Magi because if you did not know, it actually ended this past week. And me and Nestor, we've been reading Magi for a long... I don't know, did you read it or watch it first, Nestor?
I watched it first, like,
Okay.
come on.
Yeah, I read it first. I don't even know how long ago I started reading it. And it was a pretty big show, and it was good. It was good. But before we go into our little review, how we felt about it, make sure to leave a like, comment what you thought about Magi throughout its course of history, or if you never watched it, and maybe they'll give you an opportunity to go check it out. But
because it's finally done. 369 chapters.
Yeah, we know there's a lot of people who don't want to do anything until it's fully done, so we get that. And without further ado, let's just start about talking about how it began, how that made us feel, what we thought of it in the beginning.
I thought it was hilarious at the beginning.
You had the salesman guy, right? The wine salesman guy.
Yep, wine salesman. You got Alibaba being the coward that he was.
Alibaba is just your normal guy, dude. That's why I liked him so much. You're just like your normal guy, and he was just given this. Then Aladdin just showed up out of nowhere and was like, "What's up, dude?" And Alibaba was like, "Yo," and it's kind of just like a friendship. Yeah, there's no set plan at that point in time. We don't know what the story is gonna be at that point. Alibaba ends up getting a Jin equipped, but we don't know what he's gonna do with it. And then they start like giving us little hints and tidbits, and I'm like, "Oh, this is pretty cool," because the plot starts to transform around you.
Yeah, and then what I liked a lot about it is because they didn't really waste too much time with. Minus the explanations. I felt as though, yeah, the explanations, especially when Aladdin was learning magic, that was a really hard time for me to read and watch because they took a lot of time with that. But for the most part, they relatively tried to compact it as much as possible. They didn't do the best job, I'll openly say, but they did a pretty okay job.
If you compare them to only shonens. If you compare them only to shonens, they did a pretty good job, I think.
Yeah.
If only
they needed a little bit of time.
Yeah, and there's a lot of build up for Alibaba. Like each character, not even just Alibaba, each character that has a relative importance gets a lot of build up. Be it, the King of Code.
All four of them.
Yeah, not even the side characters. Like Sinbad has a full series about him.
He does. He does.
And that's actually
wasn't a fan of it, but
you don't like it that much.
I didn't like the pacing of it.
Okay, I didn't mind it too much, and it's not that bad. I mean, I don't prefer Magi more, but my only thing with Magi is, yeah, there's a lot of good art, especially with when they're raiding the different areas. You get to see the different djinns. It's just they kind of start to force plot lines at a point. The multiple Magi, the fourth Magi, out of nowhere. I mean, I think it's good until like the end of the Co-Empire arc, pretty much, where they're trying to take over everybody.
Yeah.
But like after that, it kind of just the pacing goes a little wonky. And don't even get me started on the pacing during Solomon's chapter. Like, jeez, that was so
Solomon's
bad.
chapter. Solomon's chapter was a little too much information.
It was interesting, don't get me wrong, but that was like months. It was months long.
I think that what made it longer was the fact that I believe that the writer was actually taking a hiatus for the most part, or whoever was deciding to transcribe it for us was taking a good time doing so.
Either way, it was more than 10 chapters long.
Oh yeah, like a flashback shouldn't be more than 10 chapters, guys, unless you're doing an actual flashback.
At least do the decency of going back to the original cast and then going into a flashback, maybe like a little bit later down too. Or like they're trying to figure out the flashbacks information as they do their own thing, instead of just here's all the information that we have to tell you now because the series is gonna end, relatively soon. So here's all the information that we forgot to tell you what you need for the ending. Boop boop boop.
Yeah.
You learn about David. And then David comes out of nowhere. It's like, I'm gonna sing you.
Yeah, David was the weirdest thing in the entire manga, to be honest.
Why are their goals never concrete? It's like, everybody's like, oh, David wants to bring Ilalaha back. No, he wants to just freaking destroy the barriers and kill gods.
He wants to be the new ruler. I don't understand.
Yeah.
He wants to earn an empire, go wide. I would never. Like, that part needed a little bit of explanation, but they were like, no, we're still going. We're going on the fast track.
Their goals were just so obscure, you know? It's just, what? Like, everything, like, when you meet Ren, right? Ren's the guy who has the Zagan, the plant, and the site that kills...
Hakurio, yeah.
Yeah. Hakurio is the full name. That stuff was good. Don't get me wrong. Even, like, up to the part where him and Alibaba fight, which is actually, like, way later, that was really good. It's just the side stuff that they were trying to make a big deal out of was kind of like, eh. I give it a little bit of a okay. It's okay because of the Sinbad manga. If the Sinbad manga, if I didn't read that, I'd be like, this is so stupid. This doesn't make any sense. Because they did a really smart thing. I'll give them this. They'll have like one chapter of Sinbad where they mention some stuff, and then in the next chapter of the manga of Magi, they'll talk about how he knows that thing that was just mentioned in the chapter of Sinbad.
Wait, they did that?
Yeah, they did that for some chapters. It was crazy because they'd come out like a day or two with each other. So I'd read Sinbad, and then I'd read Magi and be like, wait, they're mentioning the same thing here. So I'm like, that was smart.
I'll give them that.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
the Sinbad
smart.
done?
No, it's not done yet. There is an anime of it though.
No, yeah, I know the anime.
But yeah, no. So that gave me a little bit okay. They kind of had to do it because that lets you. They didn't really explain Sinbad and where all his people came from, all the different countries. We didn't even hear about half those countries that those his retainers are from. So, but in the Adventure of Sinbad, he goes to each of these areas, makes those connections as a merchant. You even see him talking to Alibaba's dad and stuff. Like, it's cool. It's pretty cool. So I'll give him that, but nothing saves you from the Solomon arc. Like,
yeah,
Solomon.
I'm trying to figure, like, as much as I'm trying to say that it was relatively important. It was important, but not to the extent of what it was made out to be.
Yeah.
Like, it gave us a reason why the jinns came about, why David is evil, what Aladdin's power is, you know, what the purpose of Aladdin is. It helped us figure that kind of stuff out. But we're beating a dead horse at this point. If we say it anymore, we're just gonna end up saying that this manga is terrible. But if we disregard it, I sort of liked a lot of the characters.
They all got a lot of development.
They got a lot of development. Don't get me started with the action scenes. They were really clean art. That was
the
really
eldest
clean
brother
art.
of the Co-Empire, dude. He was dope. Oh my god. I forget his name.
It's a shame that he went missing. Oh.
Yeah, but then he came back at the end and clutch. Let's go! That was so cool. I was like, yo, this is such an ass pull, but this is cool. I do have to give him something. Yeah, there were some characters towards the end didn't really play as much of a role as I wanted them to. Like Titus, I think his name was, the guy from
the Magi from one of the Magis.
He's like Shezerade's thingy. She's like a clone.
Oh yeah.
Him, like, he was cool. Like he was supposed to be like this, like, pretty strong too, like Aladdin kind of strong because he had the Magi's power. So like, I thought he'd be more important. Yunnan, I think, is more important in the Sinbad story. The Magi who's chilling in the Dark Continent or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's fine. You know, they're giving you a reason to read Sinbad, which is smart, which is fine. I know they can't go into everything in one manga. I understand that. But after pretty much after the arc where Alibaba goes into the whatchamacallit? Was it the Rook?
Where he becomes the Rook, yeah, like 2D version.
Yeah,
well, not 2D version originally, which was the biggest mindfuck ever.
Everything up to that was pretty dope. Well, for the most part.
Yeah, Judar was learning more about Judar in that. That was pretty nice as well.
You learn a lot more about Judar and Sinbad.
Do you?
Yeah, he shows you. If you only read the beginning of it, you probably didn't see him. But like, he's pretty important right now.
No, yeah, I didn't want to read it.
He's like super important. Like he's working with those Althamen, I think. Whatever. Yeah.
The bad guys.
Yeah, the bad guys. So like he's still, pretty much working for them at that point. He's not thinking for himself. So he's kind of evil and stuff, and you see him manipulating in a sense. So if you like Judar and you want to know more about him, Sinbad does go into a lot of detail of him later on. Yeah, it's not early, but what are you gonna do?
No, yeah, I got the second dungeon left, but we're backtracking too much. I guess we'll bring back to this.
It's such a big
characters.
series. What are you supposed to focus on?
It is so hard to focus. But characters, personal. I really liked Alibaba. I know, standard main character, but he was probably the most relatable. He was he was supposed to be God.
Once he came back, he was pretty much God. Like he was too perfect of a character.
No, yeah, like
when he came back from the Rook, he was literally too perfect of a character, which was fine
too
because
perfect.
That's his essence,
Because that's what Aladdin said.
Yeah. He spent thousands of years, learning about stuff, understanding things. So like he grew up. I think that's really what he grew up and understood everything at that point. So he knew exactly what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Everything since he came back was pretty much in the palm of his hand in a sense, almost. Like he had a plan for everything. Yeah, he stepped up his game when he came back. Beforehand, you saw him stumble, fall a lot. There's some stuff. I wish they went more into. I wish he got another Jin, but
yeah, that would have been so cool. But I think staying with the one is probably the best.
I mean, the thing is, like, Amon was having that baby. Like, remember when his Jin was like, I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh shit, he's gonna get a new Jin, like another fire or ice Jin. That'd be pretty cool. But that didn't happen, unfortunately. And that's fine, because they didn't want to make him a super broken character. He was a strong character. Sinbad was definitely stronger than him.
Yeah, physically. Tactically, after time skip, Alibaba ended up being better.
I don't know, when he becomes a god, he was playing with David.
Sinbad did become insanely powerful, which sort of... The whole him coming back from the palm of what the universe Ugo created, that was never explained.
I was like, what the hell? This man got willpower. This is a shonen. That's what I thought when that happened.
Like, you needed to put that in to show how powerful, how determined Sinbad was. And don't get me wrong, Sinbad... It was nice to see him because you get after time skip and even before time skip, you got to see the interaction as him slightly as a more almost devious, almost evil.
Yeah.
Comparatively to what Alibaba and Aladdin were, who appeared a little bit more pure, and then you had the whole controversial do you want to save the world, change it and recreate it to be perfect, or do you want to live in the world as it is? And that was very philosophical.
Yeah, that's why, I don't know if Sinbad was came across as evil, but he had his own ideals of what the perfect world would be. There are other, even Pokemon did that before. Gen 4, you had Cyrus. Yeah, Cyrus had. He was dealt a bad. He thought the world was wrong, so he wanted to fix it, remake it, so that people are happy. That is so wrong? Maybe not. It's good intentioned, but when you think about how everybody has to die first, is it worth it? Is a perfect world worth everyone dying first? And honestly, you could argue, even they said it too. It's no. Sinbad had to change all their minds to think it's a good thing, right? They all
after the spell was gone, they didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, they were like, whoa,
it's pretty obvious.
So, I mean, Sinbad being a singularity, being the king candidate, being able to see destiny, he's a different kind of character, completely opposite of Alibaba. Alibaba thinks everybody has to work together to be happy. Sinbad thinks he can lead everybody to happiness, as long as they do what he tells them to do. So there,
Yeah, that character dynamic was probably one of my more preferred ones.
it was really cool.
Stop provoking, and really you didn't know who to support, in all honesty. Although it was at the end, it was more Aladdin versus Sinbad, and then Alibaba came in and said, "I figured everything out. This is what we should do."
I loved it when they
and they did it.
I loved it when they cut. It happened multiple times when they cut to like just Alibaba's face smiling because everything worked like he wanted it to, and I'd be like, "Yo, this guy is a freaking like they just."
I love it when a plan comes together.
Yeah, he just had that grin, like they just show his grin. And oh my god, it's just like, Alibaba, you knew everything. He knew everything. 10,000 years of experience.
Mm-hmm.
What they didn't explain. Oh, what's up? Go for it.
I was gonna say, like, gotta appreciate. I mean, like, if you're gonna go, this was gonna be a completely different topic. If you have something to continue off of from that was very specific, like very that related a lot more, then go for it.
I was gonna mention that, like, another thing with Alibaba is that, yeah, he spent the 10,000 years in that place, the Rook, and he got the dimension magic. And they kind of just never talked about him using the dimension magic ever again after, like, even at the end, he's like, yeah, I have the power of dimensions or whatever, but, like, they're still trying to figure it out or something. I'm just like, what? Don't you, was that the whole point? Like, I was super confused.
Yeah, weren't you supposed to, bring those people back?
Yeah. Like,
never really confirmed it. Never confirmed it,
yeah.
So I'm just like, oh, I guess those guys will be piling rocks for the rest of their lives. Oops. For the rest of eternity, not even lives,
it's
eternity.
Just like Hachikuji. But, yeah. Poor guy.
Aww. Hachikuji got saved. But yes. Anyways, I know we've been talking a lot about Alibaba. We've been talking about a lot about Sinbad. We haven't talked at all about Aladdin.
Alright, let's talk a little bit. Aladdin's a weird character, though, because he's kind of the same throughout. He just matures. Like, he becomes more responsible.
He becomes more powerful.
Yeah, more powerful and, like, more responsible. He's like a standard progression. That's what it is. Like, he starts off strong, and then he just becomes stronger, more mature. Like, he's able to handle his emotions better. His power is literally broken. He can bend reality. So, I don't know what, like, that's why I feel like we didn't talk about Aladdin too much, because it's kind of hard. It's like...
Yeah. Yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from. Aladdin really just was like a shepherd, I think, more than anything. That was the purpose.
He had good character development, though. He did.
No. Oh yeah, like when, especially
Magno shot.
What was it? Magnostat, yeah. That was a good arc for him. Well, it was his arc. There was no one else.
It was quite literally his arc. Great arc. But Alibaba's just transformations take the cake, it's Aladdin ends up growing. Aladdin kind of just, I think what happens is that we got so used to Solomon that when we saw Aladdin again, it's kind of like he's literally just like a mini Solomon.
Yeah, after the time skip, it was exactly like that.
Yeah, he's like.
So we came to after the time skip with OP characters, but we didn't really do much with the OP characters at that point, which was sort of sad because they spent all that time training, but it just ended up being 2 fights that we got to see.
They all just popped their extreme magic on David. I remember that. I was like, yo,
oh boy. But yeah, just 2. No, realistically 1. Well, I'll even be nice, 2 for Morgiana Hakuryu, but 1 for the rest of the staff. Because that sort of just left me at a baffle as to why there was a time skip. As opposed, why did we focus at all with Morgiana, Aladdin, Hakuryu? Like, why did they train? Because Aladdin makes sense, I'll give him that. But Hakuryu, Morgiana, why did it matter that they got more powerful? Even Hakuryu barely did anything when it was just when they were going into the Sacred Palace. It just... it was a very rushed ending, in all honesty. They were just trying to pump. I think they were trying to pump to the end. He might have been on last gas or something, but it just felt as though that it just squandered a lot of opportunity for character development and having shining moments. Because characters like Hakuryu, who has just come back from creating his own civil war, never really shined ever since then.
Yeah,
like he was just left.
Yeah, he just came back to normal. Like he was brought back to how he was before the time skip. If you think about it, before
So it didn't feel like
fell into depravity. I guess.
And then there's so much potential with Morgana. Don't get me started with that one. So much potential. And then they decided to do the asana with her, and then boom.
No, she wasn't captured or anything.
No, yeah, but I just consider it as like you were put into damsel in distress moment, and she never was able to get over it on her own. So that was my biggest complaint, because she said she needed to, move when all the palaces were coming up, but she couldn't. She couldn't stand up for Alibaba, the man who she claimed she loved, who she did love, but she couldn't. She couldn't overcome. Like, I understand that was supposed to show how strong the Rook was, but that could have been a moment where I wouldn't have minded a little bit of plot.
I know what you wanted. You wanted something like the power of love was able to bring her back and let her fight with.
No, there was like no moments for her the entire time skip. Even before time skip, there was barely anything for her.
They had
like
the continent.
Yeah, the Dark Continent, but like that was her training, and then after the training, she didn't show off any of her extreme power. So that's why I wanted to see something. I wouldn't have minded to see like plot armor that Morgana can do something, but they didn't do that, which is, I guess, fine if they decide to put her in some sort of fight, because once again, just wasted time, wasted potential.
That's how the author messed up, though. He literally had too many characters at one point. And if you try to rush an ending when you have that many characters, you're gonna lose out on characters. You're gonna lose out on parts. You're not gonna do everybody justice. So,
but the third member of the party.
Yeah, but let's be honest. At a point, it literally just became, they were a party. Then like Hakuyu joined. Then after time skip, it's like the main people who are important are Sinbad, Aladdin, Alibaba, and David. Like, and that's pretty much how it is for the last 40 chapters.
No, yeah, like we'll be nice and slap on Judar.
Judar a little bit important too. You're right. Hakuyu becomes little more important, but I still think Judar overall has more of a effect, I guess you could say.
Yeah, like Hakuyu, he talked to Kid Sinbad.
Yeah.
No, that was Judar? No, I can't remember. That was Hakuyu. Judar.
Hakuyu was fighting double, the two of them. Mm-hmm. That's when they were also doing...
No, that was Aladdin.
Oh, Aladdin was fighting
Zepbar? Yeah, he was fighting the two of them. But yeah.
Fun fact.
Once again.
That Zepbar fight, that when the next chapter happened for Sinbad, they introduced the character who gets Zepbar.
Really?
Yeah, like the next chapter, or like the chapter before that happened, they introduced that like this girl had Zepbar before Sinbad or whatever. So like Zepbar wasn't initially Sinbad's.
Oh yeah, I remember that. They showed a panel of that. Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is this?
That second person who was with Sinbad, who we rarely even saw. Like, let's be honest, we never really saw her at all. She is the first owner of Zepbar, and they talk about her and Sinbad. Clever, once again.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But overall, I enjoyed it. The plot arcs were fun. It was thought-provoking. It was long, but it wasn't as long as Fairy Tail. We'll give it that. Yeah. Like 369 chapters is not something you can do in a day, but it's something that you can do over,
you could do it in a week if you have nothing to do for that week. Really, you could do it in a week.
Exactly. So overall, I thought at least the anime was really funny, and they did a lot of clean animation. So, and I didn't notice any sort of skipping. So I think the anime was worth a watch. I hope that they decide to do an anime adaptation of the last couple chapters, but a lot of animes don't do that. But manga, worth your time, I think, once you get past the first couple chapters, because they didn't look the best. He evolved his art style, but
Yeah. He's also probably got super complicated. When you look at those full Jin equips, there's so much stuff going on in these characters. Like these gold medals, like awesome designs all around their entire body. He definitely becomes a better artist as the story goes on. Where does the anime end off? Exactly.
When they first do when they all attack the Ilallah with extreme magic.
Oh,
So
okay. So it ends off with before Alibaba goes back to Balbad the second time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's pretty cool. That means they didn't. That means they didn't animate Solomon. They didn't animate the Solomon arc.
No,
fun
but
fact,
the pacing they did.
Fair enough. The Solomon arc is 36 chapters long. Fun fact.
Yeah, but they did pacing really nicely. They got 5-6 chapters in it.
That's good.
Because the pacing was pretty bad. But overall, Durka, was it worth a read?
Honestly, it's not a bad read. It's not a bad read. I'll give it like a 7 point. I give it an 8. I'll give it an 8 out of 10 overall. Full story, 369 chapters. Probably more than that if you count the 0.5 chapters every once in a while. But you know, for 369 chapters, usually you get a lot of drop off at some point. Not everything can be like a One Piece or a Naruto or something that keeps people coming back. But this did a good job. I give it an 8. Solid 8. I think is good.
Ooh, 8. Yeah, I'd give it about 7.5, 8. Because they did the storytelling was good. The characters I liked. The character development for the most part was good. The usage of them was sometimes lackluster, but that was because of the rushed ending.
Yeah,
there were a lot of characters, like a lot of characters.
But once again, they do go into a lot of those characters in The Adventure of Sinbad. So
yeah, but as someone who didn't know that,
yeah.
I didn't. Casual reader versus very dedicated reader. That's sort of the difference. So I'm putting it with my 2 cents. I like the art style. I like the overall plot line when you think about it, and the whole thought-provoking aspects that were coming at it during probably the last 4 arcs.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it was a pretty good manga and anime. So just go freaking check it out if you guys got some time and like a good shonen. So nothing else we really got to say on that.
If you guys did enjoy this review in the Spotlight Saturday, make sure to hit that like button. It really does mean it. A little bit of a rant. We'll probably be cutting it down. Make sure to hit that like button. It really does mean a lot. Comment down below what you thought of Magi, Magi, whatever you thought of it. Magi. Make sure to subscribe to see more content from us, because tomorrow we will be having Mahatsuke no Yome, so that's a little exciting. Make sure to check out the description below to see more of our videos as well as the playlist that we have. And this has been an Esther.
This has been Durka. And
sayonara.